It's time for This Week in the Bad Quarterback League. After a bye week of my own, the weekly video is back in Week 10, highlighting all the yellow flags, fouls, and that one special person who's named to
He's made a mess of it.
Well, here's a shocker. I don't think any of the 16 of us made a real mess of it in Week 10. Not one person picked their two worst teams that didn't have two byes. And even those of you that had negative weeks avoided other bigger negative scores. The closest I could come is Jeff George this week, but if I'm to combine his weeks 9 and 10, the judge has ruled no messes have been made. Celebrate a clean week, boys. I can assure you it won't happen again. Over in top teams, we had quite a peculiar week indeed. You know how the teams on the left are usually bad teams? This week we had teams with winning records making messes. The 6-3 Panthers, the 5-4 Bengals, and the 7-3 Patriots. And almost everyone started them. Good job, guys. However, the worst teams were a different story, and it looks like the Turd Bush League just couldn't stay away from Pittsburgh and the Giants. The Week 10 Moneyball it winner is Colt Quinn Whedon, starting his 4th round pick Carolina and picking up nice points from Tampa. Honorable mention to Cade McNown, who scored more total points, but missed out on a great opportunity to start New England. You can't win Moneyball with that kind of neglect. Clean up your act. Speaking of dirty acts, in Relegation Watch 2018, we have a third straight mess in a row as Johnny Effie Moxon slides back into 8th place this week after another disappointing showing from all 4 of his teams. A 0 from Kansas City was your highest score, and you benched them. On to the Week 10 standings, where Jay Cutler has sat for 2 weeks now, but now he has 2 people chasing him instead of just Tony Banks, who was just happy to have an average week after 2 disappointing ones. Cade, why is it snowing already? McNown has been the early Christmas player of the week for 2 weeks now, Lords of Leaping from 5th place to only 49 points behind 1st. Cam Newton delivered presents containing a taint, a benching, and low passing yards to all his BQBL owners. Chad Hutchinson reclaims a hotly contested 4th place after rebounding from a negative Week 9, but Wade Wilson couldn't quite make back all the points he lost in Week 9 and falls to 5th. The good news is that no one has stayed in 5th very long, and everyone who was called 5th place home moved up in the standings after leaving it. Ryan, can I just stop picking teams and let my QBs get arrested? Leaf hasn't had much to pick from all season outside of Week 1 and missing out on Denver a few weeks ago. He remains propped up by his 100 arrest points, which if he didn't have, he'd be behind Tyler Palko, who had his first nice week of the season, finally not missing out on some big points and starting his top 2 teams. Finally, we have Mr. Moxon, who couldn't have avoided a negative week even if he wanted to.
I don't know what to think of this other league we have going on here. We might as well stop talking about Chris Wenke and crown him now. Then we have the other spot currently occupied by TS8 Win, and Grogan is making no attempt to challenge it. Maybe this year's Week 11 will be like last year's, but as it stands right now, I'm about ready to close the book. At least all of you are doing better than the 2 jokers who will be joining most of you next year.